Good morning, everybody. We're going to continue our conversation about parking a truck. This is our new project, and the whole idea for parking a truck is that the community, we give them the tools to design, build, and then maintain the park themselves, so they don't need us, right? Trying to put landscape architects out of business. One of the first things that we have to do is give the community all the tools that they need in order to do this. So that's what we're going to do this semester. And I see that we've got a great start here. I'd like to see a finished site analysis that you can all speak to. So why don't we prepare those for next time when we meet. I'm the director of the Landscape Architecture program at Thomas Jefferson University. We are on the East Falls campus of Philadelphia. We've always done design work with under-resourced neighborhoods in Philadelphia as part of the curriculum. And so my students and I work with these neighborhoods, and we kept hearing over and over again, we do not have enough green space, especially for our children. So you're starting to lay out the trees and how these pieces might start to work together. And then what about down here? We would design the parks, try to help the communities get them implemented on the many open available lots in Philadelphia, and either the city would not give us access to the land, we didn't have enough money for the park, or we didn't have someone to maintain the park, so we were unable to implement a lot of these designs that were really needed in these neighborhoods. People look at these neighborhoods as though they have no assets and strengths, when there's actually a lot of really positive things going on in these neighborhoods. And what my idea was is to get communities to coalesce around things that they need, like parks. I developed a system where it enables communities to design, build, and then maintain parks on their own. It's a DIY manual with step-by-step instructions for communities to do just that. So they really could download it and follow the instructions and build a park without me. The idea behind the build part of parking a truck is that it sits on top of the ground. We don't excavate the lot. So you don't need permits, you don't need footers, you don't need equipment except for wheelbarrows, shovels, rakes, and then you have to rent a plate compactor to compact the gravel, but that's it. So it's really very easy for anyone to do. They may want to grow food. Yes. Okay, so I think let's take edible and let's put that in the edible slot. I think the thing they liked about Sanctuary was the overhead trellis and the outdoor seating, but they also liked the nature part for the kids. Parks take about 2 months to build, and that's just on Saturday mornings. All of the tables and chairs, benches, and stools that we designed are easy to build, inexpensive because the community's doing it themselves, and the parks are paid for either through grants that I'm getting through Jefferson, or the community can fundraise. So looking at different ways of funding the park is integral to what we're trying to do.
It really began with the community looking at issues of the lack of green space in our particular community and working with a developer who was really thinking about inclusive kinds of community involvement. He offered this space to us as a community organization. And in collaboration with Jefferson University, Kim Douglas volunteered to help us convert what was literally a vacant lot into a pocket park. There were a number of community involvement activities that went into the design of the park. Seniors, regular residents, but I think the youth were the most excited about being able to design the space that eventually they would take some ownership of.
One of the most important pieces is the Park Ambassador Program. This is a paid internship for youth in the community surrounding the park. They're trained to maintain, but also program the park. First, I just wanted to start with why each of you want to be a park ambassador.
I want to help out the community and not see people hanging out at random spots.
For like kids to have somewhere to go instead of being on the streets of Philly, because it's really dangerous.
Sit down, like, you can't think, in a quiet. That's great.
We're training them
not just to be park ambassadors, but to really understand civic responsibility and that they really do have a say in what happens in their neighborhood.
It's just like all this trash around, and I want people to help me pick it up and clean it.
Somewhere I could walk around, like sit under a tree.
We worked with the kids all summer so that they had the skill sets to try to implement a park on their playground, which is really a piece of asphalt.
And this is a scaled drawing, so I could measure anything on this drawing and then go outside and measure it and it would match. The park is 100 feet long by 72 feet wide. What we're going to do is go out and make sure that the dimensions that I got are correct. Where is that building? Which way is north? We need to know all of those things on our plan so that we can design our park. There's a building edge here, right? I want the students to understand that if they're hot, or there's not enough green space, or there's too much trash around, that they can make a difference by changing that in some fashion. Through the Park in a Truck program, I'm trying to empower communities to make change in their neighborhood by themselves. So they understand that there's really nothing wrong with their neighborhood, but we could improve it. It's trying to give a positive message in some areas that may need a little help.
When you think about what our young men or young kids do today, most of them have spent 2 years in front of some gaming device. You never thought that city kids would enjoy working outdoors in a garden. If nothing else, the sense of civic engagement, ownership, responsibility that these youth carry with them grew out of, we built this belongs to us, we're gonna take care of it. I hope that the Park in the Truck project and the inclusive development and the work with our youth ambassadors will serve as a model, particularly for urban communities across Philadelphia.